Happy holidays, everybody. It's me, Daniel, with VintageMagic.com. Hope you guys are doing well. All right, before we begin the video today, I want to offer two exclusive collector specials for the holiday season. We have two prints for you. Each are $100. Here we go. The Jerry Taratelli Rishadan Port, numbered out of 2,000. This normally retails for $200, and today through January 5th, it is going to be $100 plus shipping. All right, the next one is, there it is, the Time Walk, guys. The Power 9 piece. Here we go. This piece is normally $200 plus. It is now $100 from now till January 5th. And normally we sell these two pieces on VintageMagic.com and our eBay store for over $200. But only today to January 5th, it's $100 each print. So you can pick one, you can get both, mix and match, and depending on quantities, we could even do more of them if you wish. And shipping is not included. All you have to do is email me at daniel@vintagemagic.com. That's DANIEL @vintagemagic.com. And I'll put the link in the description of everything below. All right, guys. Thank you guys for watching, and happy holidays.
Vintage Magic. Game, collect, invest. For more information about our consulting and professional services, visit vintagemagic.com.
Welcome back, everybody. It's me, Daniel, with VintageMagic.com. Happy holidays, everybody. All right, today's video is going to be very in-depth about kind of what I feel about the marketplace of the newer Magic investing and why I think 2022 really exposed the problems with investing in new Magic collectibles. I will tell you right out of the gate that I've always never been a fan of buying the Magic the Gathering newer product in general as an investment. Playing, perfectly fine. Drafting, having fun with your friends. But as an investment, never took any large positions. Probably like Ultimate Masters, Modern Masters back in the day. I had some for my patrons, or I gave packs away and such. But other than that, didn't really get involved in that. And here's the main reason why. As you guys know, the reserve list is very, very powerful for maintaining the investability of Magic Gathering products. It is a promise that is basically Wizards of the Coast saying, hey, look, we're not going to reprint them in a playable form that is tournament legal. And so you saw it with Magic 30, for example. That was kind of that reprint collectible set. A lot of people argued it was very controversial, but the reality is that is not a Magic the Gathering back card. You can't play with it in a tournament. It literally says that, but it is very collectible. So I always felt like the newer products were distributed in a way, so they explained this recently, that they were printed on demand. So if there's a high demand of the product, like let's say Dominaria Remastered coming up, for example, then they're just going to print more and more of it, right? And that printing is dictated based off of the distributors, you know, and also the LGS stores and such. And if the distributors are saying, hey, look, we're selling out of this product, then, you know, they're going to print more. And then the distributors have more product, and so on. Amazon obviously has some allocation also, and you get a situation where if you're investing in this product as an individual, right? Most of you out there right now are individuals. You're probably thinking, okay, I got $5,000. I want to park that money into Magic the Gathering. Shall I listen to Rudy and some other investors and basically buy a bunch of boxes? Do I use Rudy's Patreon and buy $85 boxes or whatever he sells them for? Or do I invest in singles, right? Or older product? And I've always believed that the newer Magic the Gathering product, because of the fact they reprint like crazy, there's always different variations of the boxes. It doesn't matter, for example, if Dominaria Remastered has, I think, they have Force of Will. They have other the tutors, the Worldly Tutor and the Lightning Tutor, different kind of cards, right? Vampiric Tutor, whatever cards. Those cards can be reprinted again in the next set, right? In a different version, right? And, although the artwork is different, it's themed different, What makes it unique? What makes it valuable? And the reality is, people are starting to figure out, the players, especially in 2022, they're not valuable. And that's right. I've been saying this to you guys for a very long time. That methodology of investing in the older boxes and then waiting a few years and they go up in value, that has evolved and changed. And so, like, if you guys look at like the old boxes, like Shadowmoor, Lorwyn, Innistrad, look at all those boxes. Those boxes back in the day had the iconic cards that we know today, like the Liliana of the Veil, for example, right? But that card, Liliana of the Veil, for Innistrad can be reprinted. So can Snapcaster Mage, stuff like that. But the original OG, right, the original box from Innistrad is the most valuable one. Just like Lorwyn, or you have Mirage, right, Stronghold, etc. Stronghold boxes are over $3,000 plus, maybe even $4,000. So those boxes still contain certain cards that could be reserve list, but also, I think it's also because it's the first printing. There's something special to be said about that. And obviously with Urza's, the Urza blocks, the Urza's Legacy, the Urza's Destiny, and Urza's Saga, of course. Those are super iconic. But once you get past those eras, you start seeing with the new boxes from back in the day until today, right? The prices have not really gone much higher. Now, some of you will argue and say, well, Dan, Kaladesh or Born of the Gods, or I don't know, like, what is that, Aether Revolt or whatever, those boxes have gone up. So, yeah, they may have doubled, or, I don't know if they've tripled, but maybe double, let's say. But remember something, it's scale, right? You spent like $85 or $100, let's say, on a box. Let's say it goes to $200 in a couple years. Let's say it goes to $300 in 5 to 10 years. And you've tripled your money, right? That's great. But the thing is, how much boxes are you buying in scale to make a dent of money that actually would make a change in your life, right? So a lot of people investing have to understand that you have long-term and short-term gains. And because a lot of you guys are watching the videos from other YouTubers, especially Rudy's channel, you have patrons who are buying boxes. A lot of these guys are saying, I'm not really making any money here. I'm actually losing money, and it's just money being parked. And now boxes aren't as, loved anymore, right? People are just avoiding boxes in general. It's kind of like, this is kind of a bad investment. And it's right, because the reality is in 2022, we found that boxes themselves are very difficult from a scale to make money. So I think it's not Rudy's fault, by the way. It's not any LGS store, anybody you buy, or any influencer's fault that you buy the boxes. That's up to you. But ultimately it's your strategy. And I think I want to highlight that in the next part of the video here. The most important thing to understand is that in order to actually make money in Magic the Gathering, you have to have short-term sales, meaning flips, brokering deals, stuff like that, and investing in singles, buyouts that are short-term, that you can liquidate for a decent amount of money or get trades for equity. And then you also have to have a percentage of long-term kind of deals, where you buy large collections, maybe the boxes, such like that, and hold them. Now, the problem is once you start just doing long-term deals, like holding a bunch of boxes of, let's say, Kaladesh or whatever, you're just stuck with that, and your cash flow ends, right? Most people's cash flow doesn't have enough to keep buying more product. And so that's the issue, is that your cash flow is also one of the biggest problems, right? Because you have to circumvent that through short-term sales. Short-term sales allow you to then have more cash flow to buy the other singles, other collections, and then other long-term products, and then, make more money long-term. The other thing I noticed also is a lot of you guys don't actually sell anything. And you also sell things at the wrong time, which is really interesting. Sometimes there's a saying in business, right? I forget the exact words, but you basically have to sell to take profit. You have to take profits. It's healthy to take profits and to reinvest. If you sit there and hold the profits that you made into an asset and never sell, don't expect to actually make any money off it. That's not actually a business. a viable business model. You have to sell them eventually to make money. And so for me, over the years, I've bought a lot of stuff and, a lot of collections. And a lot of it, I was long-term for a lot of this stuff. But how was I making money short-term? Well, I was brokering deals. I was finding collectors who needed certain cards or artwork and whatnot. And I was the middleman. And then I found the vendors who had the items. And then, boom, I connected them, or I basically bought them myself and resold to the buyers, for example. Another thing is working with people that have want lists. They have sets and decks and specific cards. You can make money off that. All that is based off of trust, name brand recognition, being able to deliver on your word, right? So that takes years of development. But those short-term transactions lead to your ability to buy larger deals and then have long-term gains in the future. Which the long-term gains, I would say, a lot of the bigger items that I've been able to buy was due to the fact that, I made decent short-term sales, but I bought a lot of long-term items that I kept, and they sold for even more exponentially. And this also includes, I always say this to you guys, artist proofs, altered cards. You can go to artists and get cards altered. In time, those become very valuable. The prices, for example, of artists, they have charged a much higher price now. I think the alters used to be like 10 to 15, 25 bucks. Now they're hundreds of dollars for the same alters. It's insane, $100. But that's the way it is. That's how business changes. The artists now make more money off it for their time, and that's kind of inflation. But if you took advantage of that and you had the foresight to actually put money to work at that point in your life, you could have made thousands to hundreds to millions of dollars, right? It all depends on where you're at, your scale. So 2022, I will say, was a very interesting year. It opened the eyes of people realizing that, man, the Magic cards I have, I'm trying to resell my Magic cards, my decks or whatever, trying to fund cash. You're noticing that they never really sell for any profits. The cards have all gone down in value. There's a wallet fatigue going on for players and collectors because the cards, like I said, are reprinted every year multiple times now. There's nothing special about it other than some artwork. But other than that, I mean, the utility of the card, it's not there anymore. So I'm going to tell you guys, it's a very, last thought here, I'm not discouraging you to buy them to play. That's not what I'm saying. I'm discouraging you guys to put money into work as investing and try to replicate like a Rudy or myself, because it costs so much money these days to have a large scale to do it. I'm not saying that it's not possible to do it, but I am saying that you have to have a short-term outlook on these investments and then then use that money to buy long-term deals. Last thing is Flesh and Blood, MetaZoo, Weiss, Final Fantasy, all those stuff that Rudy hawks and talks about and sells. I've got people messaging me what you think and how this pertains to investing. In 2022, I think some of you guys actually did some videos, or there's been a lot of chatter on Reddit and such, but real feelings, right, about, hey, I'm not making money off this stuff. The people at the top made a lot of money. You're right. You're absolutely correct. People that are involved in those gaming card games, the MetaZoos, Flesh and Blood, whatever, the people in the beginning made a lot of money, right? There was money to be made. 100% correct. That pumping, right, that acceleration of growth, that FOMO, that, you have to get people involved and that the prices increase. But then finally, those kind of, those I call secondary CCGs, they ended up falling hard, super hard, right? So the people that bought into it early, who were early in the game, who marketed it, who were distributors, etc. I think even Channel Fireball, right? They have a huge position in the game itself for Flesh and Blood and other CCGs. Yes, you're going to make money, but remember, their cash flow and their scale is so large, they're able to get large amounts for a lower price and influence the market. A person like yourself, who's just an individual, it's very difficult for you to make money long term. So your opportunity was a short window to buy the product and then resell them and make that cash flow for short-term profits. And then Then you can go off and then say, okay, I got cash now. What do I want to buy? Do I want to buy Flesh and Blood or other things at a lower price point, which is exactly what happened, right, to those products? Or do I buy Magic? Do I buy singles, etc.? And so the question really remains, what exactly am I going to buy? Well, I know everybody's going to say, well, Dan, you're just going to tell everybody to buy Alpha. You're going to tell everybody to buy old Magic cards. But hasn't that gone down too? You're absolutely correct. It has gone down in some way. But the level of tanking or drop is not exactly the same level as these newer products. I will say, though, be warned, the older Magic cards entry-level price point is very, very high. You have to have thousands, hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars to have a major impact. And you have to be very careful what you buy and be careful about, fake cards, condition, altered cards, ink cards, etc. Right? You want to make sure you know your product. So all this said, in 2022, I have to say was one of the most challenging years for people to invest. Even myself, I was a lot more selective in my deals. It wasn't like insta-buy for everything. But I never, ever, ever touch other CCGs like Flesh and Blood, etc., especially those things, because I don't feel like I have any control, right? I don't have any knowledge of it. Not saying that it's not a good investment short term, but you never know when they're going to change the way they print the cards. They're going to do a limited run to a unlimited run, right, with Flesh and Blood like they did. So those type of factors, I don't like that. I like to focus on the thing that I love the most and also that I know the hobby the most, which is older vintage Magic cards. All right, guys, what do you guys think? I want to know what you guys invested in 2022. Comment below. What worked? What didn't work? I want to hear all about it. Hope you guys had a great holiday coming up, and we'll talk to you guys in the next video. Hey guys, it's me, Daniel, with VintageMagic.com. I'm here to share with you more about our deck and set collector fulfillment service. The deck fulfillment service caters to the player. And what that basically means is if you are a player looking to fulfill your old school Magic deck, certain Power 9 or key pieces in your vintage deck, or dual lands in your legacy deck, we have the inventory and the resources to help you fulfill your needs. Next, we have the set collector fulfillment service. This really caters more towards the collector. Oftentimes I've been asked, hey Dan, can you help me find this specific graded card for this set? Or Dan, can you find me these 20 cards left in my beta set? It doesn't matter what you're looking for, even if it's like every single Sarah Angel possible out there, I can help you out. My resources and extensive network in Magic the Gathering, I was able to help thousands of clients all over the world fulfill their needs. I've made it my mission at VintageMagic.com to be your one-stop shop for all your collector needs. For any significant item or collection, we're able to travel anywhere in the world to meet you. The reason why my clients love this service because it saves you time. What happens is collectors and players often search all over online or vendors and they never find exactly what they're looking for. By going to us, we are the only one-stop shop who can help you with your needs. Using our service gets you exactly what you want and saves you time and money.
Vintage Magic. Game, collect, invest. For more information about our consulting and professional services, visit vintagemagic.com.